My mom, really? The scene before my eyes is too horrible. Ukrainian troops on the Afghan Kivka front during the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The first-person perspective of the soldier recorded a close-quarters combat exercise between Russian infantry. The two sides in battle. FANG is composed of elite units such as the 110th Homeland Defense Brigade of the 47th Army of Ukraine. And Russia number 114, number 15. The 21st Motorbike Brigade is also ours. For the first time, we saw elite Ukrainian infantry from a drone's perspective. Scenes of large-scale battles with Russian regular infantry. Ground. Russian soldiers on the position recorded the scene of fighting off Russian troops from the trenches from a first-person perspective. So, this double. Just how brutal are close-quarters positional battles? Next, please follow the first-person perspective of the Ukrainian soldiers and the unmanned. From an aerial perspective, the battlefield was truly fierce and brutal. Offensive and defensive battles from the perspective of drones. 3 BTR-82 armored personnel carriers fully loaded with Russian troops can be seen. They were breaking through the blockade, passing through the village paths, and heading towards the UB tribe's troops. The Ukrainian side rapidly moved to the positions they were guarding. A drone carrying missiles was deployed to intercept Russian troop transport vehicles. At this moment, silence speaks louder than words. Let's follow the drone's perspective and look at the two sides from the air. The battlefield of offense and defense. We attacked and we didn't know what. You won't attack, and if you attacked us, we'll already be out. There's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to go. The distance was 2 kilometers, there was equipment there. Virus me. Extremely plus don't shoot. I'm going means don't shoot. I'm going then. Yeah, shake it off properly. A million-gram event occurred. How's Al-Qaeda? Al-Qaeda is bullshit. Runnity, 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 runnity. I don't do anything against anyone, in principle. Why are we throwing ourselves? What are we doing? A grenade, and I'm a grenade. If he asks if I know, I'll leave him alone. Both sides. The confrontation is really two. The Russian tanks, in order to clear a path for their infantry, charge directly into U-bit. If someone unexpectedly forces their way into the woods where they are positioned, they should immediately prepare for a surprise attack. Russian infantry and gunners immediately maximize their firepower, and the Russian infantry quickly gain the upper hand. Begin to seize the battle position of the Ukrainian infantry. Trenches. Ukrainian infantry could only retreat. Withdraw a platoon from the position. They were busy bandagging the wounded Ukrainian soldiers. Putting aside other aspects of treatment, this realistic battlefield scene. The scene was far more brutal and intense than any depicted in the movie. The biggest concern for 50,000 North Korean military personnel about to enter Kyiv, Russia. The incident occurred recently when Ukrainian President Zelensky issued a statement. Russia has warned that it plans to receive 30,000 to 50,000 North Korean military personnel into its territory. Compared to the previous thousands of people, Russian-North Korean military cooperation has been further strengthened. If tens of thousands of North Korean soldiers are in place, what impact will this have on the Russia-Ukraine conflict? How should we view the credibility of information? According to Military Watch magazine, Zelensky publicly stated that Russia was prepared to accept 30,000 to 50,000 North Korean soldiers. Early communication plans only had a few hundred to thousands of people. The current plan is to expand the scale many times over. This information has not been independently verified by a third party and may have originated from. Because there are two aspects to this. This is just an assessment by the Ukrainian intelligence service. On the other hand, Kyiv hopes to use this opportunity to put pressure on the West and secure more aid. As early as November 2025, South Korean intelligence agencies disclosed that there were approximately 10,000 North Korean personnel deployed in Russia and Ukraine. Border responsibility. In addition to the guard and defense duties, 1,000 engineers are responsible for mine clearance. Operations excluding combat-related personnel. In addition, 5,000 North Korean industrial workers were sent to Russia. Assistance system, to difficulties, to suicides, drone factory to increase production capacity, history. Records show North Korea. The artillery has a combat experience and participated in an assessment mission in Syria in 2010. Ammunition for artillery year-round. Production was very high. By the end of 2024, over amount missing had been shipped to Russia. Over 6 million shells. Russia's ground forces have insufficient artillery ammunition production capacity. Reliance on external support is relatively high. What will the Russian military do about this batch of North Korean troops about to enter Russia? Deployment in North Korea. The troops have two main tasks. A portion stationed in western Russia. Resettling Russian troops on the far eastern border and releasing Russian troops originally responsible for defense. Another group of personnel was transferred to the front lines in Ukraine and went directly into the battlefield. Learning about drones. Modern warfare experience in offense, defense, and anti-drone operations. The report assesses that the training standards of the North Korean army are generally higher than those of ordinary Russian soldiers. Many people may have overlooked a detail: why would the Russian military consider North Korea? Soldiers deployed on the eastern front of Ukraine. As of mid-August 2026, Russian forces continue their offensive in the Donbas region. The army is advancing in multiple directions and has begun assaulting the Ukrainian army's last few major defensive lines in the region, despite the adoption of new measures. Tactics. But the battle was still fierce. On August 13, 2026, the front line. More than 200 battles and clashes occurred. The Russian military claims that it suffered approximately 1,410 casualties in a single day, and the losses will not only be borne by the military. Having suffered heavy losses on the eastern front, troops also had to be diverted to guard the long border with Ukraine. Border line. The arrival of North Korean soldiers solved this problem. The problem is that Ukrainian intelligence indicates that Russia plans to. By the end of November 2026, North Korea's military strength will be expanded to 50,000 people. Deployed in Bryansk, Belgorod, Kursk. The three provinces of Kyrgyzstan have taken over the garrison duties, thus the original garrison. These rear Russian field troops. He could be transferred to Urumqi. Some analysts say that the deployment of the eastern front to the offensive in the Donbas region is quite significant. This freed up a space for the Russian army. Fully staffed mobile forces of army group level. North Korean soldiers were used to exchange for housing because it is not only because it possesses characteristics such as hard work, perseverance, and strong discipline, but also, they demonstrated impressive individual combat skills during the battle. More importantly, North Korea's support. The form of aid has changed from a single infantryman has been upgraded to a unit including both the soldier and his equipment. Missile units were directly incorporated into Russian missile brigades to operate KN-3 for single-shot missiles. This is a blow to the Russian offensive on the eastern front of Ukraine. There are four main reasons why the Donbas region is so important. One reason is that since 2022, the Russian government has controlled Donbas. Propaganda for special military operations. If the main objective of the operation cannot be achieved, it means that all previous efforts have been in vain. Controlling Donbas is a way to prove to the country, the heavy price we paid was worth it. The second Donbas is the industrial heartland of Ukraine. Controlling it would allow them to deal with Ukraine. Land's economy caused a heavy blow. Simultaneously taking over the Russian forces in the region would allow for the construction of establish a corridor along the road from Donbas to Crimea. Carriage consolidates control along the Azure Sea coast. Control is also an ideal strategic buffer zone in military terms. Try Donbas in the Okinawa region. It has abundant resources such as coal and iron ore. China heavy industry. Russian experts with solid foundation. Its total mineral resources are estimated to be worth between 7 trillion and 12 trillion US. Control. This will not only greatly enhance Russia's economic potential, but also solve the problem of the Liman Peninsula has long faced energy and water challenges. Shortage problem. For in Russia, in official narratives, Donbas is considered a Russian city. Controlling the city, the cradle of modern Russia's history, not only protects the local Russian-speaking residents. Furthermore, the practice of Russia's worldview is only about reshaping it. The geopolitical landscape of the post-Soviet space is on the scale of 30,000 to 50,000. The previous statement was only from Ukraine's perspective. Without verification from multiple sources, it is impossible. Treat it directly as a fact that has already happened. China may be transporting goods in batches on a small scale. Military cooperation between Russia and North Korea is being carried out by sending troops, rather than deploying them all at once. Despite the deepening but still significant political implications of the large-scale deployment of foreign ground troops in the conflict. Diligence. Numerous obstacles at the level